Rapid Dempsey.
You big fat. That's a hit somebody. That's a. Look at this ref. I promise you. You hear me?
All right, welcome back to the series. We are counting down the top 50 most jacked linebackers to ever play in the NFL. Today we'll cover number 49, and as usual at the end of the video, I have full career highlights. If you're new to the channel, I put out a 10-part series ranking the top 50 most jacked fullbacks of all time last year. I'll link that below, along with the playlist for this linebacker series. If you're into lifting weights, I also put out videos and resources aimed at helping you out in the gym, so feel free to check out my other content. Anyways, let's get into it. The 49th most jacked linebacker in NFL history is Brian Cushing, a 6'3", 255-pound New Jersey meathead who is the all-time leading tackler for the Houston Texans, a gladiator on the field who was no stranger to controversy. He was a high school All-American, college football All-American, and Pro Bowler. Cushing is from Park Ridge, New Jersey, and went to Bergen Catholic High School. He's been jacked since those days. If you watch the fullback series, you may recall seeing DeFranco's gym pop up on a couple occasions. The gym's owner, Joe DeFranco, is a bit of a legend in the strength and conditioning space who's trained a laundry list of pro athletes, NFL players in particular. Well, in the early 2000s, he was just starting up his own spot, and Cushing was one of his first trainees as a young teenager. He worked out with DeFranco's team at what he describes as a storage shed, and you'll see a lot of lifting footage from that gym later on in the video. Cushing, of course, was a standout linebacker, but he also played receiver, running back, and tight end. He was a highly decorated athlete, recognized as one of the best players in the country. These are all the honors he racked up in high school. He played in the 2005 U.S. Army All-American game and shared the field with many future NFL stars such as Deshaun Jackson, Ndamukong Suh, Jonathan Stewart, Mark Sanchez, Ray Mataluga, Jamal Charles, and on behalf of the Tui family, Michael Orr. Cushing committed to a stacked USC team led by Pete Carroll. His freshman season, 2005, was the year where Reggie Bush won the Heisman. He was already starting games his first year, and I actually didn't realize this before putting the video together, but as a freshman, he was a starter in that legendary Rose Bowl game against Vince Young and Texas. Although he was to some extent hampered by a couple injuries during his time at USC, he still had a great collegiate career, started in the Rose Bowl all 4 years, and was a first-team All-American his senior season. USC's defense was absolutely loaded that year as Cushing started alongside future first-round draft picks Ray Mataluga and Clay Matthews. You may remember that 2009 Sports Illustrated cover featuring all three of them. Here are the NFL Combine numbers: 4.74 40-yard dash and put up 30 reps on the 225-pound bench press. Houston selected him 15th overall in the 2009 NFL Draft. He'd be joining current Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans, who was a Pro Bowl linebacker at the time. Cushing took the NFL by storm. His rookie year was incredible. He was making plays left and right. Here are the stats: 133 total tackles, up there with the league's best that season. At least on paper, it was the best season of his career. He was named Defensive Rookie of the Year and also made his only Pro Bowl. Now, his second year got off to a rough start. Cushing was suspended for the first 4 games of the season for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. He tested positive for human chorionic gonadotropin, or HCG, which is commonly used following a steroid cycle. The positive test was from September of 2009, so right at the beginning of his rookie season. And actually following this suspension, the Associated Press held a revote for the Defensive Rookie of the Year award, and although he received far fewer votes that time, he still ended up keeping it. He went on to play a total of 9 seasons, all with Houston. He is a beloved player among the Texans fan base. As I said earlier, he's the franchise's all-time leading tackler. He helped the franchise win its first ever playoff game in the 2011-2012 season. The team made it to the playoffs in 4 out of 9 seasons he was there and had 3 wildcard wins, but never made it past the divisional round. Cushing had some bad luck with injuries, most notably in 2012 and 2013. In 2012, he tore his ACL in Week 5 and missed the rest of the year. In Week 7 of the 2013 season, he broke his leg and tore his LCL, and again was out for the remainder of the year. Now, in September of 2017, he was once again suspended for violating the league's PED policy, this time for 10 games. He sat out weeks 2 through 13 of that year. The Texans released him after the season, and that was the end of his playing career. Now, of course, with 2 PED-related suspensions, Cushing earned himself a bit of a reputation, but actually rumors had been following him long before his first suspension. Dating all the way back to high school, Cushing was the subject of steroid accusations, and he had to answer questions about steroids during the NFL draft interview process, even though at that point he had never failed a drug test before. I found a 2010 article by Greg Rosenthal that included a couple of quotes, one of them fairly shocking. This is from an anonymous NFL GM who said, and I quote, "We did our research on him before the draft last year, and we concluded he was a chronic steroid user dating back to high school." He also said, "More than a few people were surprised when he passed the steroid test at the combine. I think the guy became a pro at masking it until he was caught." Now, this obviously doesn't prove anything, but it's a pretty shocking statement to be made so definitively by someone in that position. The same article featured another quote from an anonymous college teammate who said, "I don't know for sure that he takes anything, but every time he goes back to New Jersey for a while over the summer, then comes back to Los Angeles, he looks like a different person. It's unreal." Here's a quote from an old Bleacher Report article from someone who knew him in high school. They said, "I knew this kid in high school at Bergen Catholic. His freshman year, he was about 6 foot tall and 170 pounds soaking wet. He came back for sophomore year about 6'2", almost 220. For those who said DeFranco's did it, you were a bleeping idiot. This kid has been using it on and off since high school. Don't get it twisted. He always had talent, but you don't gain 50 bleeping pounds over a summer." Now, I'll say this quote means absolutely nothing. I mean, who knows if any of these numbers are accurate? Also, if someone started lifting seriously while having a large growth spurt, there could absolutely be a night and day difference after a year. So was he juicing then? Who knows? As a side note, though, I will say that I know at least some people use PEDs for high school football. I recently posted a video on the subject after an encounter I had a few weeks back. This transformation shot has made the rounds on the internet, and it's pretty shocking. I'm not sure what the context of the first photo is, but he appears to at least be in college, and he does look pretty soft, showing some gyno potentially. Perhaps this was coming off an injury or something, but nonetheless, quite the difference. I will say he was absolutely massive at USC. In a lot of these shots, he honestly looks even more jacked than he did in the NFL. Now, there is a plethora of training footage of this guy. Most of these clips are from DeFranco's gym in New Jersey. As I said earlier, Cushing started training there at 15 or 16 years old, well before the gym was big, and he continued visiting during the off seasons deep into his NFL career. You'll see a J.J. Watt cameo in this montage from a training session from like 14 or 15 years ago. That's a massive YouTube video. It has like 1.5 million views, and I remember when that first came out and went viral. Clearly a very strong guy. I remember 30 reps of 225 at the NFL Combine, but he actually got up to 35 reps in training. He says he's always been a fan of the upper-lower split, and he still uses it to this day. Although I'm more bodybuilding focused, I have a couple of videos on this split. Feel free to check those out. Now, of course, Cushing is notorious for his suspensions, but the guy was obsessed with training, and you can't deny his intense work ethic. A couple years after he retired from the NFL, the Texans hired him as an assistant strength coach, and it looks like he did that for at least a couple seasons. Not sure if he's still with the team. He did, however, open his own sports training facility in Houston. It's called The Garage, and looks to be doing pretty well. They work with many young athletes in the Houston area. He's been on a couple podcasts in the fitness space recently. He went on one with bodybuilding legend Lee Labrada about a year ago, and there's another one with former Westside Barbell powerlifter Dave Tate. I'll link those below if you're interested.
At the Combine, Brian Cushing flatly denied rumors of steroid use and said they would motivate him to prove the doubters wrong in the NFL. Pro quarterbacks and running backs will wish he didn't have a reason to play even angrier on Sundays.